But all right, so Clippy, how's it going, Clippy?
Going well, going well.
All right, are you at least 18? And did you want to talk about number 1 or number 2?
I am. I'm not. I'm 19.
Nice. All right.
I'll go with number 2 because it was already talked about, and I got a lot to say about it.
All right, cool. Why do you think we should believe in a God?
Okay. Well, the first thing I'll say, can I just respond quickly to what you said before? Or are we bringing in a new argument?
Yeah, whatever. I don't know if you're a Christian or anything like that. What if you have?
Well, I'm Christian.
You're
but
Christian. Okay, cool. We can go off of that. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, the first thing I'll say on is I know a lot of the questions you're already about to ask me, considering how the conversation went with the last person. So what I'll start off with is there's a difference between a secondary understanding in God and a primary understanding in God. Mm-hmm. So a primary understanding in God is what we call natural theology, and a secondary understanding in God would be like the Christian theology. So the primary understanding of God is the logical reasonings of why God must exist. And then the secondary understanding of God is how God exists, like the nature of what God is. And that ties into Christian theology because they make claims about what God is, right? So the first thing I'll say is I'll give a couple of examples of primary understandings of God where logic and reasoning and rational thinking proves to the existence of a God. So the first thing I'll say is the cosmological arguments. So first of all,
everything that begins to exist has a cause?
No, that's the Kalam cosmological argument. That's part of it. But the main thing I'll say here is in cosmology, what we understand about cosmology is one, that the Big Bang is the leading theory of the explanation for the origin and the existence of the universe, and also that certain theories, as in the steady state theory and infinite universe theories, have been proven wrong, mainly the steady state theory, because we understand that the universe has changed. So if we assume the Big Bang, then there's numerous examples of logical arguments for why God must exist. One of them is the Kalam cosmological argument. Another one is the Leibnizian principle of sufficient reasoning.
I don't know what that second one is, but there's an issue with that first one with the Kalam, right? Because all it gets you is to a cause to the universe. It doesn't tell you what the cause is. It doesn't necessarily have to be a God, or it could be a natural process that we don't understand. But the second one, I never even heard of it. What does that even mean?
Okay, I'll explain. So the Leibnizian principle of sufficient reasoning, which was built on by Immanuel Kant, has to say that the universe, the physical universe itself is contingent, which means it did not have to exist. It could have been arranged differently. It did not have to exist in the way it does now. And so it builds on the Kalam cosmological argument by saying that this physical universe, which is contingent, must come from a necessary being.
Why?
Because it's based on the principle of sufficient reasoning. Because if a contingent thing comes from another contingent thing, there will be an infinite regress of explanations.
So?
Do you understand? So there cannot be an infinite regress of explanations.
Why not?
Because time is finite.
How do you know that?
I know that time is finite. Well, I'll explain. So what I was saying before about the steady state theory and infinite universe theories is that our understanding of infinite time would be one of mathematical infinity, not possible infinity. So the reason that infinite universe theories have been proven wrong is because they separate mathematical infinity from possible infinity.
Wait, hold on. How are infinite universes proven wrong? You've been to another universe?
No, I'm saying the theory that the universe is infinite is proven wrong.
How do you know that? We haven't been to infinite universes. We haven't been to this one.
I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm saying not that there is an infinite amount of universes. I'm saying that our universe is infinitely long.
Okay. Infinite. Like, so you say our universe has a finite hard edge.
Well, I wouldn't know how to answer that. Honestly, I would not know how to answer that. But I know that from our scientific knowledge, the universe is not infinitely long.
That's been proven from our scientific knowledge. From our scientific knowledge, our knowledge says that the universe may in fact be infinite.
Our scientific knowledge proves that the universe is not in the steady state theory, which was the leading infinite universe theory.
What do you mean a steady state theory? Like it never changes? No, it changes.
Yeah.
It definitely
No,
changes, but that doesn't mean that
so,
it's not like infinite. We'll never get to the end of it.
Right. So what I'm explaining is, you say, why does the necessary being have to come out of a contingent thing? Right?
How do we even know the universe is contingent?
We know the universe is contingent because it did not have to exist in the way it does now.
That doesn't mean it's contingent.
That 100. That's the definition of contingent.
Like, hold on. It didn't have to exist the way I did now. Therefore, dependent on something else. That's kind of, that doesn't make sense.
Doesn't follow. Because I'm explaining that everything in our universe is contingent on another thing.
And so that doesn't mean that our universe is contingent on another thing. We have no idea of what our universe even originated from.
It 100% does, because if each thing in the universe is contingent, then so let's say that there's a cup on the table, right? The cup is on the table is contingent on the fact that I put the cup on the table.
Maybe I'm not understanding contingency. Let me Google this. Let me see if I understand. It depends on specific conditions or events in order to happen. Yeah. So yeah, we don't know. So you saying that our universe is contingent on something, right? All of it is contingent on is whatever the hot dense state was, whatever the singularity was. That's the only thing it's contingent on. But that doesn't mean that therefore there was some
no. The hot dense
creator for it.
The hot dense state is also contingent. That's what I'm trying to explain.
How do you know that? Because even scientists don't know that.
But the scientists do not know that, but the philosophers do. They accept the Leibnizian principle of sufficient reason. Because
so what did the philosophers do to prove? Hold on, what did philosophers do in order to prove that? Because the hot dense state has nothing to do with philosophy. It's a point of physics that breaks down. We don't understand what's going on there yet.
Philosophers use logic. They lose logic and rationalism.
But that doesn't prove anything. That's what I'm saying. Like, what does that actually prove? Like, what I'm saying is that, I mean, they can come up with a whole bunch of conjectures, but it wouldn't actually show anything. You will need to demonstrate something at a certain point, because all I can say is that Arceus is the hot dense state, and through logic and reasoning, it's Arceus, the Pokemon. And are you going to worship Arceus tomorrow? You're not. So it's like, what do we do?
No, what I'm trying to explain here, this is why in the beginning of my talk, I separated natural theology from Christian divinity and Christian theology. So what I'm trying to explain is that what you're talking about is a secondary reasoning. You're trying to say, oh, all they've proved is that this, and that, and the third. They haven't proved God. And what I'm trying to explain to you is that your understanding of God is a little bit different from what these philosophers are talking about. What I'm talking about is the primary understanding of God, where that God must exist as a first cause, as a necessary being.
Right.
Everything after that is secondary understanding.
Right. But the thing is, what I'm saying is that all you're saying simply is asserting that God is necessary. You haven't demonstrated that to be the case yet. We're just asserting it. I can simply say that Arceus is necessary. And what will be the difference between my claim and your claim?
I 100% have demonstrated it. I've explained how the physical universe is contingent. It is a contingent thing, and that each event in the universe is contingent. And if
each event in the universe is contingent on the expansion of the universe, which came from the hot dense state. The hot dense state, we have no idea what that was. So how do we show that it was contingent, or that it was created, or it came from a God? We have no idea what it even was. So now you're saying that the philosophers know what it is because they just say so. And trust me, bro, I could just say Arceus or Oldemare. What will be the difference?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that each event in history, each event in our understanding of the physical universe is contingent on the hot dense state. I'm saying that each event in the universe is contingent on the thing that happened before it. And if each
hot dense state
event in the no, because the hot dense state was not the first thing that came before it. I'm saying if I put a cup
so you know what came before the hot dense state then?
No, bro, let me explain. If I put a cup on the table, this is what I'm trying to explain.
I understand all that. I'm asking a specific question. I'm just asking you a specific question. Do you know what came before the hot dense state?
No.
Okay.
Define what you mean by no.
So if you don't know what came before the hot dense state, how can you then claim that the hot dense state was contingent on something before it? We have no idea if that's true.
Because everything in our physical universe is contingent. That's what I'm trying to explain.
I get everything in our physical universe is contingent. I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm saying is that
part of our physical universe.
I don't know. That's the thing. Our understanding of physics, time, and space, it breaks down at that point. So we're not even sure what it is.
You're appealing to ignorance. That's not what I'm trying to say.
I'm not appealing to ignorance. I'm telling you the truth. We don't know what that is.
Okay, we don't know what it is physically, but we understand the logic that came behind its existence.
No, you don't. If you don't know what it is, how can you understand what the logic that came behind it? If you don't even know what the hell it is.
Because it's a logic that applies to everything in our universe logically.
Within our universe, with the hot dense state, we don't even know what it is. So how can you say that we can explain it logically with things in our universe? We don't even know what it is.
Okay, I'll explain. Because what I'm trying to explain is not what you're trying to ask me, right? We're kind of talking about two different topics here. You're saying that we don't know enough about the hot dense state itself to say that that part is contingent. And what I'm trying to explain is definitionally, if you agree that the hot dense state is part of our physical universe, then it is contingent based on the logic that all physical things are contingent on the thing before it. And if you agree that all physical things are contingent on the thing that happened exactly before it, then unless you accept an infinite regress of explanations, there must be a necessary being which is identified as God. So that's what I'm trying to explain.
What I'm trying to say is that even if I give that all to you, it doesn't lead us to a necessary being at all. It could still just lead us to a natural process that we don't understand yet.
Okay, but again, this is the appeal to ignorance. You're not.
No, it's not.
Yes, 100% is, because you're not proving anything I'm saying is wrong. You're just saying that there may be.
I'm saying that there are other explanations. Your explanation doesn't have to be the one, and you know that too.
No, what you're saying is there's something in the future that might prove me wrong. That's your whole argument.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I'm not saying that you might prove wrong. I'm saying that you haven't even demonstrated your case. You simply asserted that it has to be a necessary being, and I'm bringing you another explanation that it could be that explains it just as well. How do you parse out the difference between me and you? We would need evidence, right? And neither of us have that at this point. So you just can't say yours is right and mine is wrong.
Can you explain? Wait. Can you explain your entire belief is? Well, your entire argument, from what I've understood, is we don't know enough about the hot dense state. Can you explain actually what your argument is then? Because you're not proving anything by saying
that. Again, neither are you. You're simply asserting that that it was a necessary being. And I'm saying that how can you assert that and not demonstrate it? And you said it was logically is contingent. I said, okay, what's the difference between it being a necessary being and a natural process that we don't understand? Which one does the evidence show? And right now we have no evidence for either of those things. So how can you make your claim?
Because I'm explaining that the logic follows whether or not we know the scientific properties of the hot dense state.
But again, Z, I said again, Z, what I'm saying is that even if I follow your logic and I accept it, the ending of the logic can still be a natural process that we simply don't understand. It doesn't necessarily have to be a being. It doesn't. You're simply asserting one.
Again, so you're proving my point that your entire argument is there might be something in the future that we learn that proves me wrong.
That's not what I said. Again, you're claiming
that there might be a natural process that proves me wrong.
That we don't understand yet. But you're simply but you're saying that it has to be a being, but you haven't demonstrated that. A lot of most things, yes.
Okay, so if you were to say that, for example, humans, actually, I'm not even going to go into that because that's a whole different weird and metaphorical shit I don't want to go into. We make claims based on the evidence we have right now. So your argument that there might be something to prove me wrong in the future is moot because we make claims based on what we know right now.
If right, and we don't have any evidence for a being right now. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, we do.
No, we don't. We have no evidence for a supernatural being. No, we don't. You're simply asserting one.
Okay, you're
asserting one and putting it on something that could be a natural process.
I only have a minute 40. Can I ask you 3 questions?
To demonstrate that a God exists.
All right, Z. What I'm saying is that
hold on.
Evidence for a God is not conjectural arguments. Evidence is something that's demonstrable and demonstrable. We just can't say that because the hot dense state was contingent, therefore a being outside of space and time. That's not evidence, bro. That's just an assertion.
Okay, I have a minute. Can I ask you 3 questions?
Go ahead.
Okay. Does one perfection necessarily contradict another?
I have no idea what perfection is. What do you mean by that?
You have no idea what perfection is?
What is perfect?
Absent wrong.
Absent wrong. So does one perfection negate another perfection? Does one wrong negate another wrong? No. Wrong?
Does one perfection contradict another? So for example, if I'm perfect at playing soccer, does that contradict the fact that I could be perfect at playing basketball?
No.
No. Okay, so one perfection does not contradict another. right? That's what you just said.
Again, I'm not sure how you even defining perfect.
Okay, but whatever. We'll move on. So if one perfection does not contradict another perfection, could it be plausible that one being would have all perfections?
I don't know.
But you just hold on. I said, is it plausible that
Again,
if
you
one
have
perfection?
proof that being exists. You're presupposing
I'll
a being.
explain. I'll explain. That's the third question. That's the third question. You're yelling at me.
No. It's a loaded question because your question implies the being exists in the first place.
No, no, it doesn't. I'm saying,
it
is it plausible that the being could exist?
It does.
No, so it implying that the being exists in the first place.
How does that? What I'm saying, if one perfection does not contradict another perfection, is it plausible that a being could exist that contains all perfections?
I don't know.
That is,
you're saying I don't know.
Presupposing a being.
It logically follows that a being can contain all perfections if one doesn't inherently contradict another.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, yeah, but you're presupposing a being.
I'm not presupposing the being.
No,
you don't understand logical steps.
No, it doesn't. Because what does perfection even mean? Again, you're simply saying one perfection doesn't contradict another perfection. What does that mean?
You're appealing to the ignorance.
I'm not appealing to ignorance. I'm asking you, what does that mean?
No, you're appealing to
perfection
ignorance.
means that you do not contain a wrong in a certain.
You do not contain a wrong. Okay, so someone
I'm like, so you're Christian, right? So you believe God is all perfection. Then hold on. Then explain him regretting the flood of Noah.
No, that's nothing to do with what we're talking about right now.
No, it does. Because
I'm still asking my question. I'm still asking my question.
All right, time's up. We're
Because
gonna
a
go ahead and move
perfect
on.
being doesn't make mistakes.
We're gonna move on. Time's up.